So at this time, I'd like to introduce a gentleman that I had met in person earlier this year for the first time, although we've been connected on social media for a while now. And I've found his headshots that he posts on social media to just kind of speak out a little more than the average social media post, because Marty really kind of digs into the story of every single person that he photographs. And so at this time, I'd like to introduce you to Marty Moran, who's going to talk about taking an interest in people.
Thanks, Ryan, and welcome to all of you. In this crazy world we live in, excuse me, I'm going to get some water here so I can get rolling. In this little crazy world that we live in, there's a lot of division, politically, personally, even in business, and many, many variables. And the one common variable of all of this is people. Every business is different. I'm in competition with many photographers, authors, those who do taxes, or in competition with other tax people, and marketing and things like this. We're in competition all the time. But sometimes what we do is, when we hear there's another photographer, as an example to me, I'm not like this, but I went to a meeting one time, and it was a chamber meeting, and they introduced me to the first time that I've been to one of these chamber meetings. And they said, here's Marty Moran, he owns a photography company. And I heard a woman on the side who had another photography company, who is, by the way, is now out of business, say, oh my God, another photographer. And I'm thinking, there's a lot of bitterness in her whole life for her to even not know me and say the things that she did. And I was going to embrace her as a fellow advocate of the arts, but she has since moved on, went out of business. I don't know if there's a story behind that one, but we need to start encouraging each other in their businesses. Even if we have competition, nobody's, as an example, the difference between me and my business is that there's no other person like me. And just like there's no one else besides you, there's no one that can do things that you do. In fact, I know somebody that Sharon probably knows. Her name is Jeannie, and she does the thermo imaging and stuff like that. And I love Jeannie. Jeannie came to me for headshots. And even though Jeannie's who she is, I'm sure Sharon is who she is too. And if they look at each other like competition rather than as friends, we lose something in our integrity as in the human race. And we've already been doing that too much. Politics is divided. So if we feed on that, idea that politics is divided, and then we think that's the way the life is really, if we buy into that, if we drink the Kool-Aid, I want to say. So I'm going to start by saying there's a 4-letter word that many feel uncomfortable with, especially in business. And it's not the 4-letter word you think, but it's a word called love. And I did say it is love. And the problem is that we don't love people. We don't accept people. We look at them as trying to tread on our territory. It seems like in the business world, when somebody comes into the room who does the same thing as you might think, and many do, that, oh my God, they're invading my territory. And the problem is we've got to get away from being territorial. I'm more interested in your friendship than I am in competing against you. But it seems like so many people want to sell their stuff. And I'm going to use this as an example. Since I wrote a book on marriage, I will say it to you ladies. You know, when somebody's a guy, you go up to talk to a guy and he seems interested in you, or he seems interested in your business. You can tell when he thinks you're lovely or he's checking you out. You know the difference between somebody who's genuinely interested in you, and you know the difference between somebody who is pitching you. And my wife can pick a pitch in a heartbeat. She's like cautious all the time. And so the ones that want to talk to her have to be very careful. They don't shine that pitch in her eyes. But for me, I just want to know what you're all about. We have so many people in here that do so many different things, but I'd rather know the person behind you, because what's important, if you ask questions of people and you go to a networking event, you know, it eventually comes around to what do you do? But the first thing is, how are you? Are you married? Happily married? got kids. That's the things that when I do my headshots, for example, I tell a story. So I'm here to tell you your story. So if you come to me for a headshot, we'll know about your business, but we'll know what you like to do. Do you like to go boating or camping or fishing, or do you like to crochet, or you like to do needlepoint? Do you like to cook? Those are the things that people really connect with us on. They don't really care as much about what you do as they care more about who you are. Because I know a lot of great people or great photographers, but they're jerky when you talk to them. They're just not nice. And that doesn't equate to somebody that I want to do business with. I want somebody that's going to treat me right and be my friend. And people will always buy from somebody they like. You all know that. And yet we still spend a lot of our time, and I'm not against marketing because I market all the time, but selling, I just show a headshot and you make the determination if you'd like a headshot like that. I don't try to sell my stuff. I don't spend a lot of time. I've taken more of an interest in people, as the story is this session is about taking an interest in people. I don't care what you do if you're not nice. I don't care what you do at all anyway. So, I think it's time that we reformatted our brains somewhat. It's interesting. How many have ever heard of the SMART goals, that SMART goal? Do you know what? That's a waste of time to me because I'm not made like that. Now, how about that one? A lot of people say, yeah, I need to follow the SMART goals. Well, if you're one who does, follow them. I'm not one of those people. I want to know who you are. The SMART goals, make it specific. I'm not so digital in my brain that's important to me. So I don't do the SMART goals. And when I am in a class and they want to say, you got to set SMART goals, it doesn't appeal to me because I'm not made that way. And some of you may be made not like that too, but you're afraid to say, well, that makes sense. I'm not made to be SMART goals. And that's okay. I'm built to build relationships. And I'm very careful with ladies because ladies are cautious with men. And I get that story. So when I go to a networking meeting, I'm careful how I approach a lady and talk to her. And men need to be careful there. You're not going there for a date. You're going there to talk to people and get to know people. And so I'm very careful about that. And because of the value that I place in my marriage, it's very important that I show the respect and honor when I'm talking to especially ladies. But, the first thing is people say, Marty, he owns Whitehot Headshot, or he owns, Bellow Romance Photography. The truth is, I'm just Marty. I happen to be a photographer, Marty, who happens to be an author, Marty, who happens to like to cook, but I'm not the chef Marty. I'm not the photographer Marty. I'm not, and the same with all of you. You're just people. First off, we're people first. And, I think God gives us a vision of what we're supposed to do in life, and we need to honor that and follow that path. But the truth is, here we are in another situation. In 2009, the economy tanked a little bit. It hurt me a lot. And here we are in a pandemic. And we should learn from this. A pandemic is just another thing like a economy tanking. We've been through this before. And so what do we do with this? And yes, we're condemned to do Zoom meetings, but I try to do a face-to-face as often as I can over coffee or lunch, because I want to get to know the people I'm talking with. This pandemic created a lot of fear, and it exposed a lot of things in all of us. And I'm one who I'm not directed by fear. I'm not afraid of the thing. I know it's real, but I still want to get to know people. But if people have fears about it, I want to know that they have those fears, because I'm getting to learn about those people. I don't know that in my relationship with people, I try to encourage people. So now I'm going to use some of my church background, because I've had people come to my church and they talk with me, and people say, Marty, you're a Barnabas. And I go, okay, Barnabas. Barnabas was an encourager. He exhorted people. He built people up. So I will always find out what's the best in you. I think Ryan and I have met several times and we've talked, and the whole thing is, who told you can't do that? That's where a lot of people get, I don't know if I can get through this. I don't know if I can make it. This pandemic has really hurt me. Well, it's probably hurt a lot of us, but I'll never give up. because there's got to be a way through this if we get creative. And sometimes it's collaborating with another friend in the business. You know what? I'm a photographer. Jeanette does taxes. Jen does marketing. And we don't have to be on the same plane. We can just talk as friends and say, what's your thoughts about this? What do you think? How we get through this? A friend will help you through this. But somebody doesn't care about you, they just move on. They don't care. And in business, I have to be a person who takes an interest in what you do. I think it's very important that, like what Bill is doing, he's helping people with get out of debt through Primerica. That's a great program. But if he's only interested in selling, he's not going to win a lot of people, and you can't pursue that course of action. You know, over the years, I've seen so much, and I want to say that I don't know how to explain this in a deep way, but when I go to a network meeting, I just am excited. I'm going to one tomorrow night. It's up in Carmel. I'm so excited about just meeting people. Do you ever get excited? Anybody in here just get excited when you go meet people? See, that's me. I'm so excited to meet people. I don't want to be clustered away in some foreign place and do Zooms all the time. I am so excited about going out. I get to meet somebody new tomorrow night. It's like, this is really a thrill to me, because I talk to people and I ask questions about their lives. I ask questions about what's important to them. And, but I ask a lot of questions, and you know, if you ask questions to people, you'll learn a lot about people. But if you walk in, the first thing, I will say this, I know a guy, and I don't know if any of you might know who he is. I'm not going to mention his name, but I've done some network events and done set up some booth space at some shows and things like this. And this guy will always walk in. He will never get a booth, but he will always walk in with a pile of business cards and set them on every table as he walks through the place. And I see him every time I do one of these shows. And as soon as he passes my table, his card goes in the round hole file, because I don't know this guy. I think that's kind of a jerky way to act. That means he's only interested in pitching you. He's not interested in you personally. I mean, how'd you like to be talking to somebody if you're sitting across the table from them and you take an interest in them? Here's an example of what I'm saying. I sign weddings. I do weddings and I do headshots. I do families. I do all that stuff, models. But recently, which is a really good thing, I met with a couple about their wedding. I spent 90 minutes talking with them. Now, this is going to tell you how trust is built. I took an interest in what they wanted, the people that they are, and had a point of connection. I think be well read and have a point of connection. Do you know that they signed that wedding that night with me and paid the whole balance off, the entire amount of money that they would have owed me, and the wedding's not for 2 years out. Now that's a trust. Now that doesn't happen all the time, but do you know that's happened to me a lot of times, because I don't go into the pitch. I tell them, look, I'm not here to sell to you, and I'm not here to force you to buy. It is your decision. You make the decision if you think I'm the right fit for you. And that's going to be a key. And so I want to understand who they were as people, how their dynamics work together. I have to understand people. And to me, you don't understand people if you don't ask people questions. So I'm all about asking you questions, because I'm a chatterbox, and Ryan knows that too. But when I'm in my studio and somebody comes in, they want some counseling, and I do that too, believe it or not, I am very quiet, because they got to get it out and they got to tell you how they feel about things, and then you help them through this. And I helped a lot of these models get out of bad relationships because they trust me. Now, can we say that we have that kind of trust with our clients? I have to say that I don't know that I have it with every client, but I sure know that most of my clients will come back to see me because they trust me. And they trust me because I'm honorable to my parent, like to my wife. Models don't have to worry about me putting a move on them, because I care more about them than I do about a moment that some people would care about, if you know what I mean. So, and I always say to people, always tell the truth. Because if you lie to somebody, that lie is going to come around and bite you sometime. And then you got to remember, who did I lie to? I think Richard Nixon was in the White House when he couldn't remember who all he lied to. So that tells you my age too, because I'm a military veteran during that time. So he actually signed my honorable discharge. The guy who got, oh my gosh, anyway. But what do you want more? Do you want to sell your stuff, or do you want to have influence? You know, I mean, I'm gonna leave a Q&A here in a minute because I'll stop in a moment, but I'd rather have influence than just sell my stuff. You know, I like that I have influenced my wife. My wife trusts me. She asks me a lot of questions. She tries to direct my path sometimes, but that's sweet love that she has for me. But she trusts me that I honor and respect her. So if you're meeting with someone and they want to talk about family, let them talk about family. Ask another question instead of going right to what you're selling. If they mention, when you talk to them, say, what's been going on recently with you? And they say, yeah, we just got back from vacation. Instead of going, yeah, my business is this and that, and go, where do you go on vacation? And we should know the natural evolution of a conversation. But I've been in conversation with people that have no clue about how to do anything but pitch their stuff. I think it's people skill lacking. So it doesn't, to me, people skills is not refining your 90-minute elevator speech. I mean, I'm telling you, all this stuff, we've all heard this stuff years and years. Don't forget to get your elevator speech down. You know what? I don't have an elevator speech. I know what I do, and I love to talk to people, but it's not always about selling my stuff. A 5-minute in an elevator, if you're nice to somebody, they will remember you, will they not? So, you know, again, it boils down to the one thing. People will always buy from people they like. It takes longer in time to do that. But, you know, the permanence of that is extraordinary. I cannot believe now that I'm working on this Alfredo sauce, and the people who I've met are jumping in my world to help me get this bottled and marketed and sold in stores. I'm excited, and I've never done this before. Never. I'm saying all these new ideas, it's become because I've treated people right, and now they're helping me get to where I need to go. I mean, think about what could happen ultimately in the end if you help a lot of people. In other words, you take an interest in it and help them. My goal and first thing is not to sell you photography. If you want that photography, you'll call me. I post a storyline, and if that connects with you, you'll connect with me and you'll do it. But if I have to push it to sell you, it's like, honey, if I told my wife, honey, you got to love me, you got to. And she all of a sudden says, well, I don't love you anymore. I can whine and cry and it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I can't sell her. When I first met her, it just evolved into a love affair. Or it could have evolved into something that wasn't so good. Either which way, that relationship has grown. And I don't have to force her to love me. If you have to force somebody to love you and love your business, oh boy, I'm ready for, it's not going to work, because you're just wearing yourself out because you've lost interest in the person. I don't wear myself out with that stuff like that. And if somebody says, you're too expensive, like the guy this morning, you're too expensive. It's okay. You have a great day. It is what it is. We have got to get that mindset. It's because I do believe that God lines you up with the right kind of people if you want that. I believe it in my heart that he has put people in my path that has helped me become successful. And am I wealthy beyond repair? No, but I am successful. And see, that's where we've got to get. I don't have a lot of money. You probably all got more money than me. It doesn't really matter. I'm successful in a lot of things in my life. I mean, I have a great marriage. I'm 71. I have good health. 2 weeks ago, I moved a king side bed with a really bad helper up a stairs, down the stairs, including the frame, to my garage. And then I moved it into my bed, and then somebody donated us a sleep number bed. Bless God for that. And I hauled all that in to my house at 71. And I look back and say, whew, I'm really tired, but you know what? How many other 71-year-olds do that? Many don't. I'm grateful. So I think there's a lot of stuff with that. And so I'm just, I'm never going to be bored with you. there's always something we can mutually find in conversation to talk about, right? Eye contact is important with people when you're talking to them. So I don't know if you guys have questions or whatever, or if you have thoughts about anything I shared. If you concur, if you go, I'm going to hang up because this guy's stupid. I don't want to talk to him anymore, you know? So I don't know how you do this, Ryan. So I'm just going to say, does anybody have any questions about anything?
I was going to say, you're absolutely right about getting to know people. I've been with people where I've done one-to-ones and I ask questions, and they ask me nothing in return. Okay, so they're not really interested in getting to know me.
Right.
So that's, an hour that I spent, probably wasted hour. My reaction, if I do business later, fine. If I don't, that's fine too.
Good for you. Good for you. You have to move on to the next wonderful relationship person. Yes. Anybody else have a question, thought?
Yeah, I really liked what you said about it coming from the heart, because when it comes from the heart, people can feel that and see that and know just what you're talking about, that it's not about the product or what you're selling or the service or anything. It's about a relationship.
Amen. That's right. You know that I always talk about, and I don't want to spend too much time on this, but when I do my headshots, it's all about the eyes. People, if they look at a headshot of you and they don't know you and you're looking for new business, they will look into your eyes, because I make a focus of my headshot that they have to look into your eyes. They look into your eyes and they say, I trust that person. You're more likely to get a phone call than someone who has this blinding light in their face and they can't see your eyes, a portrait. So again, like you were saying, Sharon, my wife, I know her heart, but men, they look at the external parts, and I'm talking about marriage, but I know my wife's heart. I'm telling you, I know her heart very much. She makes lists. If I take something off her list, that woman's heart is bustling because I know her heart. And see, a lot of times we don't take that much of an interest in other people. We're focused on whatever we want to do and not on people. Are so important. People are so important in our lives. So any other thoughts?
No, Marty, I'd like to just comment. I think you brought a very much needed, repeat look at how to conduct yourself in a professional environment. That, yes, you offer a product or service, but if you don't care about the people, the rest of it doesn't matter.
That's true. That's true. You got to care about people. I don't care what we're if you're struggling with that, turn off the TV, because they will bombard you with nonsense. And if you want to really get to know people, read a good book, but get off the TV. The news will get you angry, cynical, and I'm not going to be that way with people, because there's sides of the perimeter in politics that I don't agree with people. However, I can find a common ground with anybody. If you try, you can find that. But we're bombarded with so much nonsense that our brain's overloaded with irritations and hatefulness and anger and those kind of things. I don't want any part of that. I got too much to live for, and too many people that I want to meet, and too many people that I want to help in life. And even if they don't ever sign with me to do any kind of photography or anything, even if they never buy my sauce, I don't care. The whole idea is I want to get to know another person. And that's my goal, is to reach as many as I can with influence rather than sell my product. So your influence is very important. I think your influence, if you want something in your life, I believe that how you influence the business world is going to be way more important than how much money you make. Because I think influence will draw the funds to you. But if your focus is money, if it's not there, what happens to us? If your goal is money, you become irritable, or you're trying to pitch really hard, or you're changing your tactic. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be that man. I want to be honorable all the time. And even when I know I haven't had any payment for about 2 months, oh my gosh, I better try to push a little harder. I don't do it. I stay calm and at peace. If it's meant to happen, it'll happen. Eventually it's going to turn around. You know that. It's going to eventually turn around. So.
Does anyone have any other questions or comments for Marty? Oh, I
We
think
have no,
Hi, it's Jen.
hi, Jen.
Good presentation. I'm sorry, Ryan. I was fumbling with my mute button. As an aside for your sauce, the Indiana Welcome Centers have a small display of Indiana goods that are made in Indiana. So it could be salsa from downstate, or spaghetti is a Munster-based spaghetti sauce that's sold throughout the state. You might want to check the Indiana Welcome Centers. I know the one in Hammond features local artisans goods. So you probably can get some shelf space there. And, as your new endeavor happens, you'll want to look for innovative ways for shelf space, right? Because it's always not so easy. But there are Indiana grocers up here in the Northwest Indiana, that specifically feature products made in Indiana. Strack & Van Til is a grocer that you could check out.
Wonderful. Because see, I appreciate that too, Jen. Thank you for that. Because one of the guys said to me, he says, man, what have we got you into Walmart? And I go, well, it's not the kind of sauce I really want to sell in Walmart. And then Walmart will change the price structure and I get cut back.
The pricing will be different.
I'm not going to play their game.
Yeah.
This is a very unique sauce.
Yeah. And you can look for little shops like the Tasty Olive, or, local coffee shops. They feature local products. As you start to think about shelf space, the pricing changes, right? But, you might want to check out, Indiana grocers, because they are partial and they favor Indiana products. So that could be something.
Here's an idea though on this one, because mine is, I don't have preservatives in it on purpose. I wanted to put it in the refrigeration department. So that makes it a little bit different. Although the guy I'm meeting with tonight is he says, we can work around that. I don't know what the workaround is because I've never done this.
Yeah.
So this is all new to me. I've heard doing farmers markets. I've heard a variety of things.
Yeah.
But the reviews I've got so far from those who have tried it, it was like, man, you put this on market, I'll have this every week. It's been great. So
well, that's different because the welcome centers and sometimes the shops that sell the olive oils, they don't have a refrigerated cooler or section.
Right.
So
I may have to work around that. There may be a workaround on that. I've got to figure that out. I haven't figured it all out. This is all new to me. I'm telling you, this is all new. All I have for me is the vision, and I have people that came in to help me with the bottling, and we'll see what happens with all this. This is, like I said, this is brand new. Photography, I'm so comfortable with photography. I've been doing it since I was 6 years old. But the photography side of it is I'm comfortable with. Even writing, I'm good with writing.
yeah.
But food, I like to cook, and my wife loves my cooking. But this Alfredo sauce was developed during that time, and I just don't know which way to go. I have ideas, but I don't know which way to go. And everybody wants to give me develop 3 other sauces so you have that. I go, well, not for me right now. I just want to make sure the Alfredo goes first.
Yeah. So Spaghetti is a local sauce brand based in Munster. Her co-packer is in Indianapolis. You might want to reach out to them, and you can just tell them that you saw me on a Zoom call. But they've gone through all of the pain points, right? With the label design, to the packaging, to the distribution.
Recipe is important too, that they get the recipe
well,
right.
Yeah, and really, they had a chef help them with that before it got to the co-packer. Their sauce can have shelf life, whereas yours sounds like you need refrigeration. So some differences, but you can talk to at least someone who's gone down the path, local to Indiana.
How do you spell the name? Is Sprugati?
Let me Google it and I'll put it in the chat.
Okay, great.
Your product is sealed properly when it's produced. It's got some shelf life to it. I've canned a lot of things over the last 10 or 15 years, and we've still got items that I did 4 or 5 years ago and they're good. But once we
That's
open
good
them,
to
we
know.
have to use them.
That's right. I put everything in a ball jar and I seal them. When it's hot, I seal them.
Yeah.
And then when I start to distribute them, I know that I talked with a chef and she said she thought at least 3 months. I think it's longer than that though. I think for something, as long as it's refrigerated, it's good for a longer period of time. But once you're right. Once you open it, it is what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
So
So I put the link in the chat. They are very vocal about using local produce in their ingredients. And that could be something that you can use as well, you know, feature a local farmer who's giving you whatever.
see, I'm like you. I have a friend, Deb Walton. I don't know if you know Deb. Deb does only Indiana, actually, what she does. And she distributes gifts and stuff to people throughout. So almost like open in Indiana, but it's only.
I was just thinking about that name. I was like, what?
Yeah, she's been doing this for years. And she's one of my clients who will never hire another photographer. I mean, no matter what she wants, she will always hire me for marketing photos because I know I do her dream. I do it her way. I know how to light, so I do it her way. So she's been instrumental in helping me grow, and she's bombing it right now. She's just killing it. I'm not bombing it. She's killing it with business and Indiana products. That I love the fact that we can support Indiana products. That's a big plus to me.
Yeah, it is a huge thing.
Versus a chain of things. I'd rather see it like that versus a chain. So even when I do,
Well, good luck to you.
Say thank you so much. I appreciate that, and all of you too. I hope you all do well. Any other thoughts about anything? Well, I guess we're good then, right, Ryan?
I think we are. I think you've left everyone speechless.
Okay. That's too funny. That's too funny. I appreciate all of you. Find me on social media if you would. I'm on LinkedIn and Facebook as well. So I'll look for y'all. Sharon, how do you spell your last name?
Well, I'm hungry now talking about Alfredo.
Great.
It's in the chat.
In the chat. Okay.
It's spelled the German way.
The Deutschland way, the Deutschland way.
Yeah.
Oh, great. That's wonderful. Okay. I'll look for you guys too on social media. I'm sure you're all on LinkedIn and stuff like this too. So anyway, I hope we can chat again in the future. Ryan, let me know the other meetings you have coming up. I'd like to jump in on some of these other ones too. Okay, my friend?
Absolutely. And this meeting is every Monday at 11:30. We meet here and have a different speaker each week. And then coming up this Friday, December 11th, we're doing a special in-person holiday networking party that's going to be down at Books and Brew, 3808 Shelby Street.
One we went to before?
I'm sorry, say that again, please.
One where I met you before?
Yes. Yes. So we'll be there from 4 to 6 this Friday, the 11th, at Books and Brew. And then let's see, coming up, we're about to wrap up for the year. Let me give you a rundown of our speakers the next couple of weeks. Next week, we have Eric, who is going to talk about strategy and execution for business. And I'm so sorry, I'm terrible with name pronunciation. So let me drop his name in here with his topic for.
His name is Eric Baczynski.
Baczynski. Okay, thank you, Jen. And so he will be our speaker next week. And then following that on the 21st of December, Jeanette is going to talk about tax planning tips. We are not going to meet December 28th. That is the holiday that we take off between the last 2 weeks or so of the year. So Carly and I can get some rest there. So any other events or announcements that anyone would like to make before we wrap up today?
Ryan, this is, of course, all of you know I also am a SCORE mentor, but SCORE is doing this Wednesday, unfortunately this is short notice, a webinar on year-end tax tips for small business. Now, maybe that'll help Jeanette out with all of her clients getting the right information put together to make her life easier. But that's what they're going to talk about. is some tips, and it's free. It starts at noon. The only thing we ask you to do is go to our website, indianapolis.score.org, and there's a registration. There's a button that says workshops, webinars. Hit it, the registration pops up, and just choose December the 9th. Year-end tax tips for small business.
And I am having a second Saturday community day down at my South Side office for Wiggly Waves. It's just a short 15-minute session at a reduced price so that people can kind of see what it is, because here in the Midwest, the things I do aren't as well known as like on the West Coast or the rest of the world. So I'm trying to get it out there of what I do and how it helps people, just so they have an idea. So I'm having that, and you can get to that from my website, which is biowaves.com.
Awesome. Any other events or announcements? Okay. Well, it is 12:25, so we'll wrap up 5 minutes early today. So I wish everyone a happy and successful week. Stay safe, stay warm, and join us again next Monday, same time, same place.
Pleasure to meet you all. Thank you so much.